Lim Tae-Gyu is one of the most versatile hunters in solo leveling or Rise, as he is made to deal massive damage while supporting your team with break damage, and when you build him correctly and also put him in the correct teams, he can have an extremely spammable ultimate skill. So today I'll be going over exactly how you can do that, as this is how to best build Lim Tae-Gyu. But definitely by far the best regular gear set you can get for Lim Tae-Gyu is going to be the one hit kill gear set, as on the 2 set effect you can increase your ultimate skill damage by 25%, and then on the 4 set effect you can decrease your ultimate skill cooldown by 40%. And the reason why this is so good is because Lim Tae-Gyu's ultimate is called Quick Attack Typhoon Fire, and this ultimate will apply something called Sniper Mode to Lim Tae-Gyu, which basically will change his basic attacks to become Quick Attack Typhoon Fire that deals the damage of an ultimate skill. So essentially what that means, it will treat his basic attack damage as ultimate skill damage, which means you can benefit from the 2 set effect, and then essentially with the 4 set effect as well, because you are decreasing your ultimate skill cooldown, it does mean you'll be able to have way more uptime on that Sniper Mode buff, which for me definitely does make it one of the best gear sets for him. Then you also have Solid Foundation, as this one is also amazing because on the 2 set effect you can increase your basic attack damage by 18%, and then on the 4 set effect you can also increase your core attack damage by 18% as well, and then you can also increase the rate at which you do charge your core gauge. However, this isn't as important, as Lim Tae-Gyu does a really good job of that anyways. However, you're mainly just getting this gear set for the 18% extra damage. The armed gear set can also work very well, as you can get a 5% attack increase, and you can also ignore 15% of your target's defense. And then the final gear set I'd recommend would obviously always be the toughness gear set, as you can increase your crit rate by 8% on the 2 set, and then on the 4 set effect you can increase your critical hit damage by 32% as well. And then for accessory sets, we have Champion on the Field, which is a really good accessory set for him, as if you do have some dupes, and especially if you do have his exclusive weapon, you'll probably know that Lim Tae-Gyu does like to stack a bunch of attack stats as well, so this gear set will be amazing. With the same also applying with the Expert gear set as well, which also does a very similar thing. And then finally, the Executioner gear set is always amazing on practically any DPS hunter in the game, as when you attack enemies that have their HP and it's lower than 70%, you'll be able to get a 20% damage increase, which is always amazing. And then in terms of the stats that you want for these pieces, you'll want things like attack percent on his helmet, additional defense and also additional attack are always guaranteed on his body armor, as well as also his gloves. And then finally, for his boots, you'll want critical hit damage, as that will give you the best damage bonus possible. And then for his accessory main stats, additional HP is a guarantee on the necklace. For the bracelet, you'll want dark damage percent, as he is off the dark attribute. For the ring, it will always be attack percent or additional attack as well. And then finally, the earrings will always give you additional mana points. And then as for substats, again, very self-explanatory for any attack-based DPS in the game. As for his main artifacts, you'll definitely want things like additional attack percent. Those are going to be the 2 most important ones for him. And then after those 2, you'll definitely want critical hit rate as much as you possibly can get it, so you can get to 50% as fast as possible. And then from then on, it's pretty much anything like damage increase or defense penetration. Those 2 will be your next best bet. And then for all of your accessories, it's literally the exact same things apply with attack and also attack percent. However, instead of going for critical hit rate, you'll want critical hit damage as well. As always with artifacts and accessories, you can only get one kind of crit stat on the other. And then moving on to his weapons, he obviously does have one very clear weapon that you do want to use on him, and that will be Intercept, which is his own exclusive weapon and is actually a pretty cool one, as essentially you'll just be able to get a 4% flat dark damage increase, which is always amazing, as it'll buff literally everything to do with his kit. And you can triple that value once you get this weapon at max dupes, going from 4% all the way up to 12%, which is really, really nice. And then whenever Lim Tae-Gyu uses a basic attack within 10 seconds after using Quick Attack Typhoon Fire, you'll be able to increase his attack by 6% for 30 seconds, which can only stack up to 2 times, but overall a 12% attack increase is overall pretty good. However, when you get this weapon to max dupes, it becomes like way better, because normally when you max dupe weapons, it'll increase the percentage increase of things. However, this one is even better, as instead of just increasing the percentage increase of attack, it will actually increase the amount of times you can stack the attack buff instead. So before at 0 dupes, you could only stack 12% attack. However, once you get this weapon to max dupes, I believe you can stack up to 48%, which is a massive increase. And then for free-to-play weapons, I would 100% recommend the Steel Bow, as you can increase your critical hit damage by 9%, going all the way up to 24% if you have it at max dupes. Then I'd recommend the Steel Longsword, as you can increase your elemental weakness damage by 4.5%, going all the way up to 12%. And then the weapon that I'd recommend the least, that is of an attack scaling weapon anyways, is going to be the Steel Dagger, as you can increase your basic attack damage by 6%, going all the way up to 16%, which, funny enough, you don't really use them too often with Lim Tae-Gyu, or at least I haven't really ever done that. So this increase isn't as good as the other 2. And then for Lim Tae-Gyu's skill level priority, it's going to be pretty simple and easy, as all you've got to do is look at his passive to know what you need to level up, as his passive will be able to increase the damage damage of his core attack, Typhoon Fire, and also quick attack Typhoon Fire, which is his ultimate skill and is definitely by far the skill you want to level up the most, as this is definitely where Lim Tae-Gyu does get all of his value from his whole kit, as you can fire up to 8 projectiles, which each can do 1157% of his attack, going all the way up to 1735.5% of his attack, which is a huge increase, and especially because that's spread across 8 projectiles, it means you can get a massive amount of damage with it. Then the next best thing I'd recommend is going to be Volley Fire, which is his core attack, and the reason why this is his second best skill that you want to level up is because his first basic skill, which is called Shoot and Maneuver, actually does activate his core attack, which is going to be really useful, as without any dupes you can use this skill 2 times, which means you can get his core attack twice really quickly, which is really nice, which for sure 100% makes Volley Fire a must level up skill. And then after that, I'd recommend Typhoon Fire, as this is also has a massive amount of damage that you can deal, with its huge damage multiplier going from 1632% of his attack, going all the way up to 2448%. And then the final 2 skills I'd recommend you level up are going to be Shoot and Maneuver, as it does have a very low cooldown and is something you want to use a lot. And then finally, his QTE skill, Airborne Burst, is going to be another thing that you do want to use, and is definitely something you'll want to level up eventually. So then moving on to Lim Tae-Gyu's best teams and also synergies, and there's quite a lot of different things that you can actually do with him, as the 2 best characters that do synergize perfectly with Lim Tae-Gyu are going to be Min Byung-gu and then also Lee Bora. And the reason for Min Byung-gu being the best synergy for him is going to be through his QTE skill, which is Divine Punishment, as essentially what this is going to be the best way of filling your whole team's power gauge, as whenever you do use Min Byung-gu's QTE skill, you can fill your whole team's power gauge by 50%, which is a massive increase, which will then allow Lim Tae-Gyu to get his quick attack Typhoon Fire as much as you possibly can. And then the reason why Lee Bora is so good is because with her first basic skill, Strengthening Charm, you can increase the amount of dark elemental damage that your team members can do, whilst also being able to apply a damage increasing debuff as well to your enemies. And then other characters that you can use with Lim Tae-Gyu that could potentially be pretty good are going to be characters like Eugene Ho, as if you do have him with max dupes, then you can give your party members an attack increase whenever they do pick up his potion. Park Hee-jin is another amazing character, as if you do have her 3rd dupe, I believe it is, you can also fill your whole team's power gauge by 10% whenever you use one of these skills listed here. And then for teams, I would 100% definitely say this is the most optimal team that you could go for, as you have Lee Bora for damage support, as well as also debuffing and also buffing Lim Tae-Gyu's damage. You have Min Byung-gu to buff Lim Tae-Gyu's crit stats, whilst also give him ultimate charge. And then finally, obviously, you have Lim Tae-Gyu for things like break damage and just damage overall. But then when it comes to shadows, I would definitely say Blades is by far his best one, as Lim Tae-Gyu wants to stack his attack stat more than he does things like crit stats. But then for the rest, I'd probably end up recommending Tusk and then also Iron as the next 2 best things that you'd want, as Iron's basic skill, which is called Iron Angry, can create a shield equal to 10% of your max HP, which is granted to all shadows, which is really useful. And then also Tusk has the ability to buff all of your shadows as well by giving them an attack increase. So there you have it. Lim Tae-Gyu is a really cool DPS, as he just has a lot of different characters and just teams that he can work with. But overall, if you did enjoy this video or you found it just useful just in general, then don't forget to like and subscribe, as it helps a ton, and click the link down below to support me as a creator, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace!